Welcome to another exciting episode of 60 Plus Uncensored, the show where we have real, unfiltered conversations with people over 60 or close to it who are still working, growing, living with purpose, and refusing to fade quietly into the background. I'm your host, Seb Frey, and I started this podcast because I wanted to shine a spotlight on the people who are still out there doing the damn thing, building businesses, chasing dreams, raising hell, or just living life on their own terms. Today I've got a great guest, Kelly O'Connor. Now, Kelly is a certified senior advisor, like me, and one of the leading voices on solo aging, later life relationships, and what it really means to thrive without the traditional safety nets of family or marriage. She speaks from both personal experience and professional expertise, and she does it with honesty, humor, and insight. So in this episode, we will dig deep into what solo agers need to have in place, how later life dating is way more complicated and a lot more fun than you might think, and why legal planning, yes, cohabitation agreements and all, isn't just smart, it's empowering. So whether you're widowed, divorced, never partnered, or just fiercely independent, this conversation is for you. So let's get into it. Kelly, thank you so much for being here. And just to kick it off, would you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Oh, good, Seb. Thank you so much for having me on the show today. And a little bit about myself. I was born and raised in Florida. I spent most of my career in Los Angeles, however. I worked in the fashion and entertainment industries, and then I got into the senior care business as a second career. And I tell you, it changed my life. It's where I found my calling, my passion, my purpose, everything that I was looking for in life I found in the senior care business. And I've been able to meet so many great people like you along the way.
All right, terrific. Okay, so now tell me, solo aging. I don't really have any experience with solo aging. I'm married myself. So what exactly? Like, how do you define solo aging?
So, solo aging is self defined. So, everyone has their own definition. There's a woman named Sarah Zeff Geber. She's a PhD who wrote the book called Essential Retirement Planning for Solo Agers, and it is the Bible of anything solo aging. And so, the way I define it is I am not partnered and I don't have children. So I will be aging solo. There's many people that define it differently. There are folks that say, I'm with my partner, but what happens if one of us were to predecease the other, or one of us were to have a cognitive decline along the way? We would be solo aging. It's typically people without children, or children that live long distance, or are just way too have busy, complicated lives that would not be able to serve in a caregiver capacity.
Okay. So I think that maybe a lot of people are more into solo aging. I guess specifically women, is my understanding. That a lot of women are happier to be alone than men are happier to be alone later in life. But is this sort of changing the way that a lot of people are thinking about planning for their future? Just this whole concept of being alone?
It is. It's required that we plan ahead differently, because we won't have the built-in caregiver system that other people might have in their families. So we need to make some professional decisions, we need to make different financial decisions, and also social decisions along the way.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. So, like, what's the biggest misconception that people have about aging without children or without a partner?
I think people think that we're either lonely or something's wrong with us, and that for some reason we're not partnered. And some people are not partnered either by choice or by circumstance. And the same with having children. Not everyone wanted to have children, and we're are born into a society where we do have choices differently than we had in decades and centuries past.
Yeah, so do you think that most solo agers actually have children? I mean, or is it, or are they just really completely solo with no family?
Mainly they're solo without family. There's 29% of households in the United States that are one-person households. So it's much more common than we think.
Oh, wow, I had no idea it was that big,
It is.
29%.
It's a huge cohort.
Oh, wow, that is a huge cohort. Wow, that's crazy. Okay. So now tell me, what are the top three things that every solo ager should have in place, both legally and practically?
So the very first and foremost thing that they should have in place is someone who wants to serve as power of attorney for them when that time should come, and to have all their power of attorney documentation in place. And I say that anyone over the age of 18 should have those documents in place, because we never know when a tragedy or crisis is going to happen. But the first thing is to have a power of attorney in place. The second is to have someone who will serve as your care manager designated. So there's a difference. Just because I'm willing to make financial decisions for someone when they're unable to make decisions for themselves, that's what a power of attorney does. But who wants to serve as that care manager for me in my later life? And the other is who wants to serve as my business or financial manager in the process? Who's going to make sure my bills are paid, my insurance is kept up to date, and all those parts of my life when I'm unable to do those for myself.
So basically, you're like pre-planning your guardian or conservator and or attorney. So like if you don't have, like if you are truly solo, who typically does that for you? I mean, do you hire somebody, or is it, I mean, what does that look like?
Yeah, so it would either be a professional that you would hire. I have a relationship with a care management company now, in my late 50s. Well, I should say my next birthday, I'm turning 60. So I am right on the cusp here. And but I have a relationship already with a care management company in case something were to happen to me. I also have friends that are in place to serve as my power of attorney when I'm unable to do that, or unable to make decisions for myself. I want the agent who will serve as power of attorney to be able to make decisions for me, but I don't want them to take me to every doctor's appointment, to have to manage my care when I'm in a hospital or rehab and so forth. I really want a professional to be able to do that, just so my friends can come and visit me and, not have to serve in that capacity.
All right, well, we're going to get into the weeds here a bit because I've never heard of this care management company. So is that like an insurance thing, or you pay them a monthly thing, or how does that actually work?
So there's care management firms. It's a newer career, I would say, in the last 40 or 50 years. A lot of people haven't heard of care management. What it is it's an agency set up usually by nurses, sometimes by physical therapists, sometimes by people who are certified care managers. There's a certification. There's also patient advocates that are able to serve in a capacity and help you make decisions along the way. You do hire them either by the hour or on a retainer basis, whichever is appropriate for yourself and that the firm has set up for themselves.
So you're 59, you look pretty healthy. So, I mean, you're not needing their services, I don't assume. Is that
No,
correct?
I don't need their services, but I stay up to date with them on a yearly basis.
So, like you give them your contact information every year and just sort of check in, and you really don't start paying anything until you actually begin to need care, or how does that work?
No, I pay them for their services for the hour that I spend with them. I just want to update them on any health changes that have taken place,
Okay.
Anything in my friend circle that has taken place. Like I had one person who was my power of attorney, but has decided that they wanted to step down. So I needed to shuffle that around a little bit and to make sure all my documents are up to date and that they have my current documents. It's the same way if you would have an adult child that would be serving in that capacity. You would want to make sure on an annual basis that they have all your documents up to date, your new insurance cards, those things.
So you actually hand over all your insurance cards, and I don't know what else you might give them, your medication list and all that stuff. You would make sure that they have all that, and you just do that once a year until at some point, maybe 20 years from now, you might start needing more assistance.
Exactly.
Okay,
God
all
willing,
right.
right?
God willing. Well, that's good to know. That's really good to know. So now, what about a trusted support network? You mentioned that you have a friend and your friend doesn't want to be your power of attorney anymore. So how do you go about like choosing those people or building that network around you?
It's really interesting. The first person who is now serving as my agent under power of attorney. She is a former coworker. So it's someone that I've known for many years who we have a very close relationship. And so I had asked her, if anything were to happen to me, would you be willing to make decisions for me? And would you be willing to serve in an official capacity for that? And then the other group of people, it's a husband and wife who I met. They're secondary and third on my power of attorney documents. And I met them at the dog park years ago when we first rescued dogs together. And we became fast friends and really, as close as you would think family would be. They've asked me to be the godmother for their children, and I'm able to, really build that relationship. They happen to be about 30 years younger than me. And so, hopefully, if we all get to live long lives, we will be able to, they'll be able to support me in their later life.
No, that's really neat. That's really neat. So this is kind of like your chosen family, you might say.
Exactly. Chosen family is a great way to put it.
So how big would you say your network or your of chosen family is? I mean, like, or the typical person, does the typical person have like 5 or 100, or like, what does that look like for most people?
Most people have a small group of friends that are friends over the course of the years, and many people have that larger family network that's built in to their social network. And so what I find with solo agers is that we need to really put a focus on building that support network and our friendship network, not only just for who's going to take care of us when we're older, but also who is going to be there as that social support. Social support is so important for your emotional health, your mental health, and then also there's some cognitive health benefits of having a larger support network.
Oh, I would imagine there's quite a few cognitive benefits of having a larger support network. But, a lot of people, go ahead with today with all the screens and whatnot, right? A lot of people, I don't want to say they're shut-ins, but they don't get out much,
Yep.
So like, where do people who are solo agers go to meet people if they don't really have a lot of, 'cause especially like if you're older, like maybe a lot of your friends have passed away or moved on, and where do people go to meet people who can become their chosen family?
So I remember one time I was when I lived in Los Angeles, I was at a garage sale, hosting a garage sale. And I decided that what I wanted to do was I wanted to wear and model some of the clothing while we were there at the garage sale. And it ended up being this really hysterical thing on what outfit Kelly was going to put on next. And I had a gal, she was in her 80s at the time, and she drove by and she spotted me wearing one of these crazy outfits at a garage sale, and we became fast friends until the day that she died. And so I would say that your friendship group can come from anywhere. It can be the person at the coffee shop, the bagel shop. It can be like the friends that I met at the dog park. But you have to build these relationships early in life. Solo aging isn't something that you can just put a blind eye to. It's something that you need to prepare for all throughout your life.
So is it ever too late then? I mean, like, what if you just turn like 70? You just start thinking
Yes.
about this. I mean, what do you do?
Yes, it is one of those things when you're saying, what if you're a shut-in, the word that you used, and it's like, what do I do and how do I make socialization possible in my life? And it's really challenging. A lot of people, their doctor's office will be, the people that they see most. And it's one of those things that actually makes me a little bit sad for people. And I say all along life we need to keep younger friends and younger people in our lives, and then we end up relying on social supports and social services organizations that are there able to come and provide care for us, provide meals for us, those kind of things. I highly recommend that solo agers do whatever they can to make a plan to move to a retirement community in their later life so that there's a built-in support network.
Oh wow, that's a really great idea because, like so men. I mean, usually the man dies first, but not always. And like a lot of times men, their spouse is the person who ran the social circle, and then when the spouse passes away, unfortunately, they're basically left isolated because the social network was built around the wife. Um,
Yes.
so that's a good idea. So moving into a senior community. Well, what about like a senior center? I mean, like, is that
Oh, yes. Senior centers now are changing so much. There is a beautiful one. I happen to live in Denver, Colorado now, and there is a beautiful senior center in an area of our town called Highlands Ranch. And it is so beautiful. It looks like the fanciest of Aspen hotels that you would ever see. And they have lots of engaging activities. It's not where people go and just sit around and play bingo and drink coffee. It's where they're learning, engaging, finding travel partners, those kind of things. It's a really engaged environment. So I encourage people to really look at local senior centers.
okay? All right. Well, that's certainly a good idea. Now, but what are some of the unexpected challenges that solo agers face that they never really thought they would?
So I think solo agers are typically very independent people. So they think singularly. And so I think that's one of the challenges that they find in later life is now all of a sudden they're faced when they need care that they have to think differently. And so that requires us being able to pivot on from a mental capacity, to be able to think in different ways about our lives. And I think as much as we can stay agile and resilient, not only physically but mentally, that will come to serve us in the best way possible.
Okay, right on. So now, how about like dating, like in later life? Like I understand that a lot of women, like if their husband passes away, they don't want to like recouple or whatever. But a lot of men do, and certainly some women don't want to be, well, they don't want to be hitched necessarily, right? But they still want to date. So, what are the kind of the biggest surprises that people discover about later life dating? What's the best part, or maybe the weirdest part of that?
The weirdest part. Well, I think the weirdest part is that we have to think about instead of raising children and rearing children, when you're looking at a potential partner, now you have to look at health and caregiving and what those needs might be. So it's a different mindset in dating as far as what you're really looking for. And I think the best part about it is you have people that are some people are bitter about the dating experience, but other people are very optimistic about having this new opportunity for, passion and companionship and excitement and a new journey that there is out there for them. And I think that's really the best part is if you find those people that are really enthusiastic about what later life could look like and getting to choose who you want to spend it with. I mean, that's really special.
Yeah, yeah, I think that a lot of people who are younger are bitter about dating. I mean, I see it on like Reddit all over the place. I don't think that's exclusively the domain of older people. And I would imagine that there's like a lot less pressure dating like later in life, right? Because you're not worried about like starting a family, right? And all that, right? You're really just worried about having fun and companionship and support. So I would imagine that there's a lot of really positive things about dating, after 60, say.
Yes, there is a lot of freedom because you don't have pressures from your parents and your grandparents. There is really a lot of freedom to be able to make different decisions, different dating choices than you would have had in younger years.
Right. Yeah. I imagine you can. I mean, you're basically. I mean, I think that's one of the benefits of being older is like you start to care a whole lot less about what everybody else thinks.
Yes.
Right. So what advice would you give someone though who is re-entering the dating scene after maybe decades, not having gone on a date ever?
Yeah, well, I tell you, one of the things that online dating is the way everyone's dating nowadays, either online dating or going to meetups. And I think that, many people, we had a lot of built-in networks where it's like who we went to school with, who we went to had our first jobs with, different built-in ways that we were able to meet people. And now, everyone is online dating. I mean, I have a friend that is in her 80s and she's online dating. I mean, it's not exclusively for young people. And so I really encourage people to embrace dating online, as long as they do it safely, and make sure that you are able to meet in person.
So what apps do people use for online dating when you're 60 plus?
Well, there are people that have used, there are some over 50 dating sites that people use. There's many that are, if people are Jewish or Christian, there are different sites for different people to use. I know that there's one that's called Bumble, where the women get to choose who they want to match with. And then Match.com is, the biggest one of them all.
So most older adults, they just use the regular dating apps that everybody else uses, essentially.
Yes.
Is that
and,
it?
And you get to search by, what ages you're looking for.
Okay, all right. And now you mentioned also meetups. So are there older people dating meetup things, or where do you find out about that?
Yes. So there's a lot of new groups that are starting out, where you can just go to dinner with people. You can join. It's a dinner party basically, and you can meet up with new people, and it's not exclusive for older people, it's for people of all ages. So you might have a 65-year-old that's meeting with a 35-year-old and in a group of people. And so there's the safety of having a group of people. There's the interesting conversation of the multi-generational mindset, and that you're able to really connect. There's also some outdoor activities. There's one called, I think it's called Events and Adventures, and you can choose all different types of adventures that you want to go on. So if you happen to be a hiker, if you happen to be a skier, if you happen to enjoy river rafting, that you can go on and meet people. And there's a lot of solo travel groups as well.
Solo travel groups, huh? So where do you find those solo travel groups? On Facebook or?
Yes, solo travel groups are found, you can find them in groups on Facebook, and you can also find them online. It's really become a really big thing about solo traveling. You can travel with women-only groups. I don't know that there are any men-only groups, but you can travel with singles, which is really nice.
So these dinner meetups that you're talking about, would you go to meetup.com to find those, or how would you find those?
You could. Meetup.com is really great for anyone with a special interest. So if you're a literary person, if you are a person who's interested in history, that you would be able to go and find another group and then make arrangements with those people to go to dinners. But there's also, if you look online for single, meetups, get-togethers, things like that, you'll be able to find them pretty quickly.
All right. Okay, that's cool. So now I know that you're pretty big on these cohabitation agreements, and so talk to me about cohabitation agreements. What are they, and what do you need to put in there?
Yes, so cohabitation agreements now are really popular. There was John Cena, the actor, who was in the news recently because his cohabitation situation changed and the agreement needed to come into place. So it was in the news, quite an interesting awakening for a lot of people. And the part about a cohabitation agreement is what happens when something goes wrong. Let's say that there's a different lifestyle that I've been able to achieve by cohabitating with someone, and what happens when that cohabitation arrangement changes and we break up. Do I go now back to an apartment? Am I accustomed to a certain lifestyle? Do I get an agreement where I would be able to maintain, let's say if we have kids together, or kids that are in the home, how would the kids now need to go to a different neighborhood, a different school? Is there a sort of waiting period to say we break up, who moves out, and then how do we make those decisions? It's really difficult. Think when you have two households and one person gives up their home to move in with the other, and then they've rented out their home. what do you do in the time frame? Let's say it's in between that, that yearly annual renewal of the person who left their home. And so how do you make those decisions? Does one person, the person who broke up with someone, do they put the money up for the apartment, the temporary housing that someone would live in before their home is available? All these kind of things are up to be negotiated nowadays. It's not like we break up and we go run home to mommy. It's very, very different nowadays.
So who makes these cohabitation agreements? Like you hire a lawyer to like write up a contract?
You can hire a lawyer, or you can do something just on your own, just so it's written down. But many people are going to attorneys just to have a quick document looked over and notarized.
So are there like examples of these anywhere, like that you can like does Nolo Press have like a handbook on making these things, or
I always go to ChatGPT.
ChatGPT and your
That'll
friend?
help you come up with a format at least to go by, or the things that you need to have a conversation about ahead of time before you go and talk to the attorney. That'll actually save you a little bit of attorney time.
Right. Okay. So now, what are the risks of like moving in with somebody and not having a legal plan in place?
Yeah, it's a big risk. And like I said, it's not like you, especially for a solo ager, it's not like you have, family that you can go move back in with. You'd need to move back in with a friend while you get your bearings. And so people a lot of times are maintaining two separate homes and just doing sleepovers back and forth and having some sort of arrangement. But many people are hesitant to give up their home and their housing, even when it's a close dating relationship.
Yeah. Well, I can see that. I mean, a home is a big thing to give up after all. So now, but it seems to me it might be a little awkward to like tell your partner or whatever, hey, let's sign a cohabitation agreement. I mean, like this is like a brand new concept to me and probably to most people listening. Like, how do you begin to have that conversation?
Just the way you brought it up was perfect. Just to say, hey, we're making a commitment to each other. I'm giving up my home, or you're giving up your home, and I think we really need to talk about, if something were to go awry, we don't expect it to, but if something were to, what would we want to do? It's just like people have had prenuptial agreement conversations. It's very much the same thing, and you have to bring it up in a really gentle, loving, and compassionate way.
So what if the other person does not want to sign a cohabitation agreement? What would your advice be? Just don't cohabitate?
Yes, I would not cohabitate.
Really? Okay. All right. Well, that's good to know. All right. So I'm going to go check on ChatGPT and learn more about that. All right. So now, is there anything that you wish that younger women knew about growing older and dating in their 60s, 70s, and 80s?
The one advice that I would have for younger women is to know that, there's always possibility out there. I know with every heartbreak, you never go into a relationship thinking that it will end. There's always that hopeful romantic in all of us that will hope it will continue. But I would say really to develop that friend network of your besties, your girlfriends, the people that are going to be by you and by your side, no matter what. And I tell you, my girlfriends have carried me through a few heartbreaks in my lifetime, and I'm so grateful for them.
Yeah. So, like, how do you talk to people about like aging and partnerships, and planning, especially people who are, maybe younger and, maybe older? I mean, like, it seems to me like everyone has like such a different opinion on that. Like, do you like build consensus with people, or do you look for like divergent opinions, or what can you share about that?
Yeah, well, the part, I love the word dignity, and dignity to me is about giving people the right to make their own decisions and continue their life in their own process. and what they're looking for in their lives. And I think for me, I've had friends that have allowed me to make some dating mistakes along the way, but also some people that have really been there by my side no matter what, and really supported me and letting me have the dignity of my own process. And I really appreciate it. Those are the kind of friendships that I really look for. I'm not looking for the friendship that's going to be the man hater, bash the guy, and his character or what have you. I really want people that are going to be there for me.
Right, right. So are there any like liberating truths that you've discovered about life and love and independence, in your later decades?
I tell you, the freedom to be able to make choices, to state what you're looking for, and to not have that biological clock ticking along the way, is just wonderful. To be able to say, this doesn't work for me, and to not know that my biological clock is ticking and that the time is ramping down on when I'm going to be able to have children. I tell you, that kind of freedom is just wonderful, to say, this really isn't working for me, or I think this would be a really great friendship, but I don't see us in a romantic capacity. And to be able to have the confidence to have those kind of conversations is really beautiful.
Yeah, I can imagine, because like that biological clock thing. You hear so much about it, and for women who might be interested in having children, like just having that clock ticking during your 20s, 30s, and maybe 40s. It has to be just a tremendous amount of pressure, whether or not you even want to have kids, right?
Yep.
Yeah, and so now you're free from all that. So do you think that dating now, where you are in your life now, is better than it's ever been, really, or was it really better when you were 20s, in your 20s?
I saw an interview with Leslie Jones and Drew Barrymore one day, and Leslie Jones, the comedian, is just so hysterical, and she said, I think they need to take all the dating apps online, put them into one, and call it what's left.com. And I just love that so much, because really you are looking at what's left in the world. And also, with gray divorces are also on the rise. With 40% of divorces are people over 50. So there's new people coming into the marketplace all the time.
Yeah, I would imagine. I think that a lot of people, I can see that more and more as it becomes increasingly socially acceptable for people to get divorced, right? I think that there's a lot less pressure to stay in a marriage, especially once the kids are grown and done with college and all that. They don't want to come home to the nest anymore. I would imagine that there'd be a lot of people coming in. I know that a lot of my own clients, they get divorced not in their 30s, but in their 60s or 70s even.
Yes.
Right? They're just like, okay, now, everything's, the kids are all grown and flown, let's just call it a day. So, yeah. So, but what do you think? I don't know that I got the answer. So is it better now in your late 50s or better in your late 20s, the dating world?
I think dating is always a little awkward and a little bit weird, no matter where you are in the early part of the process. But like I said, I'm happy now, and looking forward to hopefully meeting a partner here in the future, and being able to be partnered, someone that'll do a cohabitation agreement and a prenuptial agreement and those kind of things, and that we can also have a caregiving agreement in place. That's something that's new and growing too. Again, different conversations, but still ones that are really important to have.
So you're open to cohabitating with somebody. So at that
Yes.
point, you're not a solo ager anymore, or what do you think most solo agers are looking for? Are they looking to get together with somebody, or just have somebody close but not too close, or?
Close but not too close, I think, is the answer. I think as human beings, even if we're introverted, I think as human beings, we are social creatures. And so having that companionship, I think, is really important. For me, I didn't imagine myself I knew I wouldn't have children. I didn't think I would have children in my lifetime, but I didn't expect to be a single person, someone who's uncoupled. And so that, I think, caught me a little bit by surprise. but I'm really excited. This feels like a therapy session a little bit, but I'm but I tell you, I think that most people are really are looking for that companionship and are open to relationship. I think there's, all of us, except for the most bitter of us, are really hopeful that sometime in our lifetime we'll have one big true love.
Right. Oh, yeah. Well, I think probably a lot of people would agree with that for sure. All right. So now I'm just going to go for like a speed round here. Okay. So like
Okay.
no pressure here, right? Okay. So tell me, what's the worst date that you had after you turned 50?
Oh, the worst date that I had was someone where I was just talking and being friendly at dinner, and someone who misunderstood that as a sexual comment. And I said, it was a first date, and I was like, I'm not going there, buddy. Like, what, how, where are you coming from? And that was the most awkward date that I ever had.
Right. So basically you were on a date with a creeper, sounds like.
Yes, got creeper. There you go.
All right. So are people creepier when they're older or creepier when they're younger, do you think?
I don't know. I'm not dating younger guys, so I don't know.
Well, because I wonder, like, if people feel less inhibited because they're like, "What the hell," right? Like maybe they do get creepier when because they get more honest and more, like less guarded, maybe.
Yes, and the rules have changed. There are people out there that are into all different things than they ever were before, and that they're very open about it. So that is one thing that you do have to be very careful when you're going through your dating, to make sure that there is compatibility on all different levels.
Yeah, I would imagine that would be especially true for women, right? I mean, like I think that a lot of women feel like inhibited, like like what role am I supposed to play in life? And they whether they consciously or unconsciously they try to conform to that, even though that's not really who they feel that they are, and that once that the expectation of that you're going to be a wife and mother, maybe that's passed. That at that point you're just like like you feel unburdened, really, in a way that maybe you
Yes.
haven't before.
Yes, it's a beautiful time, I think, for women to be dating, absolutely, because there's not as many social pressures as there were on us, societal pressures.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you just you see them around town, like like when you're out, like older women having fun, right?
Yes,
Like you tend not to see so many older men palling around and having fun, right? Like you see a lot of men walking by themselves, maybe, but not a lot like laughing in a group and having a good time so much. I don't think. All right. So now, what's one thing that solo agers should absolutely not do?
absolutely not do is spend a lot of their money in their early retirement. What I find is that people will spend too much money in their early retirement and not have enough set aside for professional care managers and professional financial planners that will be able to help them and manage their life in their later life. That's the biggest one, and I would say that was even for people who are married. I see people going big in their early retirement, and it's like we don't know what our healthcare costs are going to be, and then for a solo ager to have the need for professional care managers on top of that, it does get really expensive really fast.
Well, that's a big concern for a lot of people that they're gonna that they're not their money is not going to last, and I think a lot of people are living longer than they thought they were ever going to live, right? They got
Yes,
that. Well, my dad died at 72 or whatever, right? Could be that you don't die till 86, right? So that's really good
exactly. And
advice.
we have so many people that are living into their 100s. Like, it is becoming so much more common, and so we really need to plan and prepare for that 100-year mark.
Yeah, and plus, I mean, anybody who does live to 100 years, or 90s or whatever, I mean, you're probably going to be needing some level of care at that point, right? Maybe you're still pretty good, but, maybe you do need, in-house support services, right? Or, somebody to be taking you because maybe you can't drive anymore. Although in the future, probably it'll be, Waymos, right? The robo-taxis, right?
Yes.
Maybe that'd be less of an issue, but maybe it still will be an issue because maybe you need help just even getting down the stairs, right? Just to the actual Waymo that comes and picks you up. So, all right. Well, now, what's your favorite guilty pleasure of living alone?
Is being able to do whatever I want whenever I want, and that I don't have to take anyone else's needs or idiosyncrasies into consideration. That's the best part.
Yeah, I would imagine that would be the best part of living alone. So, Yeah, I mean, plus you don't have to like, put away the dishes necessarily, right? Or fold the laundry on anyone else's schedule, right? You're
Yep.
pretty
Your
casual.
time, your life, your abilities. It's all up to you.
Right. All right. So now what's something that society gets completely wrong about single people over, say, 55?
For single people over 55, I think the thing that people get wrong about us is that something is flawed with us, that we are single because no one wanted us. I think that's the biggest part. And for even for single people like myself to be able to show up in the world in a really empowered way, it's like, no, I am single by choice. I chose not to be with someone, or I chose to be with the wrong person, and that ended. And so now I'm single in my life.
Right. Yeah, that's actually a really important point. I think it's not that people didn't choose you. It's like you chose not to be with them, really.
Yes.
Okay, so how about like big red flags in later life dating?
I think the biggest red flag is neediness. And
Neediness.
I had a guy on a date. He said, I'm a little needy. And in the middle of the first date, I said to him, I said, I'm sorry, this isn't going to work. And he looked at me like he was so shocked that I said that. But I can't do needy. It's really, I need for you to be able to take care of yourself to the best of your ability, and I'm going to do the same. That's what I bring to a relationship.
Right. Okay. Neediness is a red flag. All right. Not like drinking heavily or vaping, maybe.
Yes, those are ones too. But I think the biggest one for me is really that neediness. If I want to be needed and appreciated, of course. But if someone is looking for someone to come in, they say for women that men are either looking for a nurse or a purse. And so they're looking for someone to take care of them or pay for them. And I'm not in the position to do either.
Okay, got it. All right. Now, so what's one legal document that everyone over 50 or 60, say, should have today?
Absolutely a power of attorney document. Someone who, if there's something that happens to me and I'm unable to make decisions for myself, that I have a power of attorney document in place. That's the most important thing. And I always encourage people to have three people listed as agent, and then as surrogates. God forbid something should happen to the first person, like in my situation, you're able to move on to the second and third without having to go to the court for the court to make decisions on who would be standing in for you.
Yeah, so there's a power of attorney and a durable power of attorney. And so when you say power of attorney, what you mean is a durable power of
The
attorney.
durable
Is that
power of
correct?
attorney, correct.
Does that include like an advanced healthcare directive, or is that a separate document?
An advanced healthcare is usually a separate document, but sometimes they're built into that durable power of attorney. So it really depends on how your lawyer writes them up for you.
Right. Okay. And so, but would you also recommend an advanced healthcare directive
Oh,
as a step?
yes.
Yeah.
I think that there should be a full estate plan set up for anyone that's in their 50s and beyond. A full estate plan where everything is laid out as to what will happen if something should happen to me. Many people do plan for end of life, but they don't plan for incapacity. That's the one that's the toughest, whether there's, if I have a stroke and physically I'm unable to take care of myself, or cognitively, if dementia were to set in, that I would be unable to make decisions for myself. So I think making sure that that whole plan is in place is really, really important.
Yeah, because we could have a stroke at any time. I mean, one of my friends, his wife had a stroke at like 53, right?
Yes.
She became incapacitated. I mean, she's mentally there, right? But physically, right? She has a very hard time getting around. If she had been alone, that would have been, really a horrible
She would have been
experience. I mean, it was
would have been
horrible
devastated.
anyway, but I mean, it
More
was,
so,
yeah, it would have been
yes.
extra devastating. So, are there any like books or like documentaries or like podcasts or anything that you recommend for people who are, going through solo aging or wanting to learn more about solo aging or solo dating?
So I think there's some really fun podcasts that are available. One TV show that I had seen on Netflix was a show called Later Daters, which is really fun, and I've continued to follow some of the stars of that show on social media, and they're really doing great things out there in the world. Really, some amazing people were on that show. And then I recommend for everyone the book called Essential Financial Planning for Solo Agers. That really is the book out there that will help you map out a really great life for yourself.
And here I thought you were going to say The Golden Bachelor. But
The Golden Bachelor, yes. Well, there's some controversy with it now with our new bachelor. So,
oh, really? What's the controversy?
The controversy is he made some ageist comment, and so people were up in arms. Ageism is real. Even there's something even called internalized ageism, where I don't even realize that I'm saying negative things about older adults, and I am an older adult. So yeah, there was some comment that he made that really rubbed the general public in the wrong way.
Interesting. I've not followed The Golden Bachelor too closely, unfortunately. I mean, I have caught a few episodes, but all right. Well, listen, Kelly, what's next for you personally? Dating, travel, or any bold moves, or what's coming up?
Yeah, my bold move is that I am finishing a book right now. And so I have wanted to write a book for many years. And so I'm writing a book about midlife. And so that will be, I'll have my manuscript turned in at the end of this year, which I'm really excited about. So hopefully publication in 2026.
Oh, wow. That is very exciting. All right. So if people want to get a hold of you to consult with you about anything, what's the best way they can reach you? Do you have a website or a email list or?
Yeah, it's Senior Care Kelly. It's all spelled out, www.seniorcarekelly.com.
But do you have Instagram or a YouTube channel or any of that stuff?
I do. Yeah, I'm Senior Care Kelly everywhere.
Everywhere. Senior
As
Care
they
Kelly. All right. Well, I just opened up a new Instagram profile myself for Team 60 Plus, so I will follow Senior Care Kelly, and we can swap things now. I guess now Instagram now has a thing where you can repost someone's Instagram. So have you heard about that? That's brand new. I just heard about it just moments ago. So
that's great. I'll follow you back.
Right. I'm looking forward to that. All right. Well, listen, that's about all we have time for today. And I want to thank you so much for joining us here on the podcast. I really do appreciate it. And maybe we'll run into each other sometime soon. Are you going to Baltimore? Did I ask you?
I will be in Baltimore. We'll be at the Society of Certified Senior Advisors Conference. It'll be great.
I can't wait. I've never been to Baltimore, so this is very exciting for me. I watched that show, The Wire. Did you ever watch that show, The Wire?
Oh, yes.
So I guess we're not in that part of Baltimore, but...
I'm looking for... We'll be on the harbor in a beautiful hotel. I'm looking forward to some great seafood.
All right. Terrific. Okay, Kelly. Well, thank you so much. And we'll catch you on the flip side. Well, that's a wrap for this episode of 60 Plus Uncensored. Huge thanks to Kelly O'Connor for setting the tone with such honesty and insight. Now, if you did like this episode, do me a favor and do Kelly a favor. Hit the subscribe button and leave a review and share it with someone you know who needs to hear it. Now, if you know someone over 60 who's still doing big things like living boldly and working with purpose or aging on their own terms, I would love to hear from you. Just reach out at team60plus.com or join the conversation on 60 Plus Uncensored on Reddit. I'm Seb Frey, and this is 60 Plus Uncensored because, as we're learning, life after 60 isn't the end, it's just getting good.
Subscribe now